From Studio 1A in Tampa, Florida, comes a talk show that really feels your pain and tells you like it is. We love America and all that freedom-loving Americans want to protect. Live from coast to coast and on your radio, it's For the People with Keith Allen.
We'll help you survive this thing called life. We're for the people. Whatever your source of stress or strife, for the people is there.
Well, hello, Mr. and Mrs. America. I am Keith Allen, and proudly welcoming you into this Monday's edition of For the People, hour number 2 for some of you on November the 6th, 2017. If you are a big Tonight Show fan, you might be a little disappointed, but after learning the news of why the Tonight Show is going to be canceled for 1 week, you'll understand. Jimmy Fallon's mother dead at 68. NBC decided to cancel the Tonight Show for 1 week to allow Jimmy to mourn. Jimmy Fallon's mother died this past Saturday. Gloria Fallon, 68, died at a New York hospital of an undisclosed illness. She was with Jimmy Fallon and other family members at the time of her death, according to Fox News. And the news comes a day after Friday's taping of the talk show. That was canceled pending what the network deemed as a family member. So a source was telling Variety that Fallon's mother was in the hospital with an illness. Jimmy Fallon canceled the broadcast to be with her. So following her death, NBC released a statement to E! News saying, "On behalf of everyone at NBC, we extend our deepest condolences to Jimmy Fallon and his family at this time of enormous loss. Our hearts go out to Jimmy and everyone whose lives were so touched by Gloria Fallon's love, kindness, and support." Jimmy Fallon has openly spoken about his close relationship with his mother, who has been hailed as his biggest fan. I lost my mother-in-law. I've lost my father. Definitely gone through loss. To be honest with you, I don't get that NBC is suspending the Tonight Show for a week. I'm sorry, but there's things that are important, and let Jimmy take off the week. But are you kidding me? You suspend the program for 1 week? A lot of people would say, wow, that the NBC thinks very highly of Jimmy Fallon. 1 week, there's nobody else that could sit in for Jimmy. Nobody else could do what Jimmy does. No other funny comedians out there that could make fun of Trump for a whole night in his monologue, and he's been doing this for now 10 months since Trump actually took to the White House. I don't like Jimmy Fallon's monologues beating up every single night on Donald Trump. Now, I do wish him well, and I'm sorry for the loss of his mother, but NBC in bed with Jimmy Fallon on these things because they tell him to do it. I mean, I understand it's not just Jimmy's fault. I mean, it's not just Jimmy Fallon's fault. I get it. And I certainly don't want to have this as a beat down on Jimmy Fallon going through it. But I'm sorry, weirded out big time that NBC shuts down the Tonight Show because Jimmy's mom died. The show must go on. There's nobody else at NBC that could sit in. Are you kidding me? Nobody else could guest host for Jimmy Fallon. Dear God. Seriously. I mean, I'm sorry, but the world does go on, and the show must go on. But 1 week, there must be. I'd be curious. I don't know. I should look in to find out on programming to find out what they're going to do. Oh, it might be to talk about Donald Trump and overfeeding the fish with the Prime Minister of Japan, which was an erroneous story, wasn't true, but that's what's being propagated by The Guardian, by CNN, because they have nothing else they can bring to the table on the newscast that they can be able to comb up on as to why is it that Donald Trump's over there and how pivotal and important it is for this American president to actually be. It kills them. It kills them to no degree that Donald Trump is with world leaders, making the tough calls, making tough decisions, ones that will steer American influence there in the Asia Pacific. These are very important steps, mark my words, for why Donald Trump is in the Asian Pacific, why he's spending 2 weeks there. It's a long time. It's a long trip. But there's too many things right now, and Donald Trump is a deal maker. He's going to be making some good deals. And Japan, he's going to be able to offer them something that's going to be able to protect them in case incoming or overhead missiles from North Korea come over them where they can shoot them down. That's American technology with a THAAD missile defense system. Donald Trump wants to sell it to them. We'll make them. We'll install them probably. And it will allow them to protect themselves. This is a first for them to be able to do this militarily, to shoot things down, because we have a deal where they don't do this. We are giving them permission to protect themselves, finally. And they need to do this because the threat is real. Now, I've said that I think that Kim Jong-un is going to do something stupid when Donald Trump's over there, and others have alluded that are following the president on this, that time will tell to see if it's happened, but they would not put it past to be able to make some kind of statement. I don't know if they're going to wait until that he's in South Korea at the DMZ, because it hasn't happened yet, and he's been having the state dinner, and nothing happened. So there hasn't been any candles, and nothing's happened. But I wouldn't be shocked if some kind of launch, I don't know how provocative it would be, but something just to mark his territory like a dog. This is just what he does. All the world is watching. So maybe, just maybe, he'll realize that this is probably not the best time to be provocative right now, given the fact that the world's media is following every step, and that would give America so much more leverage to actually do something. So maybe they'd wait. Maybe he gets back on his plane, and then Trump does the victory march, feeling good about the trip, and then when he's on his way back, then he does it. Then he does something. But we'll see. Hopefully there is a good conversation in China with Trump. I'm really hoping after the Prime Minister of Japan that there's something that China can do, because this would be very bad for China. Very bad for them in so many different ways, because they will get not only nuke fallout, radiation, but they're going to get a bunch of people coming over the border, running over there, and they have already verbalized that they don't want any more North Koreans over in China. They don't want to take care of them. In case you didn't realize, they kind of have a population problem. They got too many people. It's 1 billion plus people over there. I mean, it's a lot of friggin' people. They don't want to take care of any more people. They can't even they're having problems feeding their own people over there. They really are. So to have more people over there, they don't need it. So we'll see what happens during Trump's trip. But I do believe that he's going to come away with some very positive, productive talks with heads of state over there to be able to possibly lay a lot more pressure on North Korea to quiet down their nuclear ambition. And if diplomacy can work and they can squeeze him and make him see the light, that would be a beautiful thing. And I'm hoping to God that they can. But time is only going to tell. But I'll tell you, he's going to give it his best shot. And I believe that's why he spends so much time over there, to be able to give it his best shot, to allow diplomacy to work in its fullest. But we cannot be terrorized by a guy who says that he's going to destroy this country, destroy his neighbors. You can't allow somebody with that kind of power to do this particular thing to ensure his folks over there. We understand, oh, he's just trying to protect his people. That's it. You can't fault Kim Jong-un for that. Yes, you can. Because there's definitely greater populations elsewhere. You got to count your losses when you can. His terrible atrocities, the nightmare human rights violations in North Korea alone should be enough to be able to get rid of this guy. Because if we did it with Saddam Hussein, for the Kurds to the north, for gassing his people, how much worse do you think that Kim is? By the way, talking about this very thing is Brian Freeman. Brian Freeman of the Washington Post editorial. He has called for the world not to turn a blind eye to the rule of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un for his violations. Now, the editorial cited a Committee for Human Rights in North Korea, the report released recently, which uses satellite photography to document a parallel set of punishment camps there that exist along with the political internment facilities exposed in earlier reports, proving further evidence of the crimes against humanity being carried out by the Kim regime. Now, these second camps hold prisoners accused of political crimes set by the state, which include participating in authorized gatherings, criticizing the state, of even expressing dissatisfaction privately, possessing dissent drawings, written materials, music, movies, videos, and foul, hostile, or superstitious activities. And the suffering in these gulags, as we've reported on, is similar to what goes on in the other camps, including starvation, forced labor, and brutal conditions that lead to many, many deaths. And the number of prisoners held in those camps, ladies and gentlemen, estimated at some 70,000, and this is according to the United Nations report, 70,000 prisoners in these camps. And the Washington Post editorial said that although these prisons are sometimes called reduction camps, there is a terrible misnomer. What's going on is far worse, severe, than just brainwashing sessions. Says the Post sent out to say that just as Nazi concentration camps shocked the world, and that discovery of such horrors today should prompt an appropriate response and sense of outrage. And I hope to God that Donald Trump does say these particular things, and I'm glad that the Washington Post is talking about this very thing. Look up his name, Brian Freeman. It's a Washington Post editorial. It was out today. Headline, Washington Post calls on world not to ignore North Korea's human rights violation. It's not just a violation, but a lot of violations. It is not the place that you want to be. What he does to his citizens is terrible. Like I said, what did we go after Saddam Hussein for gassing the Kurds to the north? The weapons of mass destruction? You know, Kim knows that what happened over there in Iraq could happen to him, but many experts say that he's got more than mustard gas over there. He's got nerve agents. He's got every kind of chemical, biological, nuclear at his arsenal that he would possibly, if he had to go down, possibly kill millions in the response. This guy knows he's doing wrong. This guy's been preparing for it. The regime's been preparing for the invaders, whoever that might be. just to maybe perhaps ensure their existence.